I'm Doc AJ Chua and welcome to Adjusting Your Heart. Today is May 30 and I'll be celebrating my golden birthday on June 1. Good thing that 50 is the new 25. In Psalm 90 verse 12, we are exhorted to ask God to teach us how to number our days aright so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Hence, I took a walk down memory lane and here are the 5 things that I decided that I'll keep doing from 50 years old onwards. First, I'll keep treasuring family and friends. Without my parents, I wouldn't be here. So I thank God for my beautiful mom and handsome dad. You check out these pictures, their engagement and marriage pics. They got married on June 7, 1970. So in a few days' time, they will be celebrating their 51st anniversary. I was born a year later. And if you could check out these pictures, all the pictures were taken at Lyric Studio. My dad said that's the most popular studio at the time. And I'll show you some of my baby pics. But they're not that clear because I can't scan them. That's because I came up with this project a few years ago. Okay, inside this album, okay, I put in the best 27 years of my life. So I think my next project would be memories from the age of 28 to 50. And for the next few family pictures, these are the complete J family. People call us J family. Why? Because my dad's name is Jose, my mom's name is Juanita, and then I'm Jeanette, then we have Jerry and Jackson. But when we grew older, people call us the Salamin family or eyeglasses family because by that time, all of us were wearing eyeglasses. Besides family, I'll keep treasuring friends. One group of friends that I haven't mentioned in my previous videos are my friends from Dynamic Youth. These are the people that I met in 1993 when we went to Taiwan together. And you can look at this picture. I'm the one with long hair, still curly hair, wearing a Giordano shirt at that time. That's the in thing. And wearing shades. We met again in 2018 for the 25th homecoming. And we met at Liberty Hall. And I'd like to give special thanks to our troop leaders, Mr. Teps Salvador, Mr. Samson Su, and Mr. Nelson Ong. Another group of friends that are close to my heart are my Jerizim Evangelical Church friends. You can see from these pictures taken at the Young Pro Fellowship, our video editor David Wong and his wife Pom are there. Another group from Jerizim would be the group that went with me to Sagada. Special thanks to Pastor Esther Gao who led the trip. Take note, we commuted only the 4 women, me, Esther, Josie, and Tess. And then the next 2 pictures will be more recent pictures. We joined Jerizim's fun run so that they could raise funds. Speaking of friends, look at this nice Ottoman. Thanks to Lincoln and Tina for giving me this. Second point is to keep learning. Learn something new each day, each month, each week. And learn as much as you can, regardless of age. And that's what I would also tell myself. Because that would make life interesting. It would also make you more interesting because you get more things to share. And they say it prevents Alzheimer's. And one way I learned is through reading. And for that, I'd also like to thank my Aunt Perps and Aunt Julie, who were at that time, both of them were still working at the United States. They sent me my first book, Little Women, the classic by Louisa May Alcott. You can see from this picture of the Lobendino clan and also some pictures taken in 2002 when we visited. Aunt Julie was still there and she, together with Aunt Miani, took us around Washington and also Virginia. So thank you. At this point in time, my goal is to read a book a week and at least 2 counseling books per month. I also would want to watch other videos regarding counseling. I also want to attend free seminars to improve this YouTube channel. Another thing that's part of my goal, you might laugh about it, is I'm switching, okay, from the manual calendar to using Google Calendar. I'm a little low tech. So the goal is hopefully I will be able to transition this year. And also to use laptop without using a mouse. I don't know how to use laptop without a mouse, okay? Another goal would be also to cook a new dish every month. So there are things that we can keep learning. So let's learn together, okay? The third is keep being optimistic. That's not easy to do all the time. In fact, I was feeling down these last few days. That's because in 1 week alone, I already attended 3 wakes over Zoom, and that broke my heart. One was that of a 9-year-old kid, and then another, a friend's mom, and then another friend's husband. But what helped would be praying, reading the Bible, journaling, and actually these are some of the self-care tips, okay, that I shared in my previous video on how to manage stress. And of course, besides that, what did I do? I scheduled counselees for next week because I said I can't counsel them this week. I ate my comfort food, ice cream. Hans graciously cooked maling for me because I like eating maling for breakfast. I also eat chocolates. And then, of course, I have some me time, like I just play some jigsaw puzzles, my Cody Cross, and then we watch Netflix together. So I just relax, and thank God I'm able to bounce back today. And I think it's not only because a lot of people are losing loved ones, it's also because of PMS, premenstrual syndrome. Because my period just arrived yesterday, which means usually a week before, or there will be hormonal changes if you're a woman. So we also have to account for that. And then we just fight it. And if it's time to just for us to relax and rest, then let's do it and bounce back as fast as we can. And one of my models for optimism would be Candy Candy. You might wonder, who's Candy Candy? Actually, she's part of a Japanese anime or a cartoon. And I've also read her comic book. She was an orphan, and yet she always looks at the bright side of life. She's always smiling. Look at these pictures. And she's kind to everyone, even to those who bullied her. So when I was younger, I said, I want to be like her. Another model for me of optimism would be Dr. Charles Swindoll. Look at his picture. He's now 87 and he's still preaching with vigor and he's always smiling. And I consider him one of my mentors because I've read many of his books. Look, because when I was younger, these are the books, okay, that I received. You know from where? From 702 TZAS. That's from FEBC, Far East Broadcasting Company. Because those are the times when there was no internet. These are in the 80s, the 90s. At that time, my parents won't allow me to go to YGC or to church. So I just listened to their broadcast. And one of my favorite broadcasts would be Insight for Living. And I would write for free books and they would send it to me. And of course, once I started earning my own money, I would also buy his books. I had the whole set and I read all of them. And even for these days, I'm using one of his books as my devotional book. It says here, Great Days with the Great Lives. One of his quotable quotes would be this: life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. Another would be Barbara Johnson. She's also an author, but she has already passed away. Look at her book, Stick a Geranium in Your Hat and Be Happy. Look at the subtitle. She said, pain is inevitable, but misery is optional. And she also wrote another book called Splashes of Joy in the Cesspools of Life. In these books, she shared her painful experiences of losing her sons. One to a war, one to a drunken driving accident, and then another son became rebellious, even disowned her. But eventually they were able to reconcile. So she shared her experiences on how she coped during all those difficult years. And she said that there was a point in her life that she wanted to commit suicide. And she thanked God that she didn't. And eventually she was also able to help other people with these same struggles. You can read her books. They're really very humorous and inspiring. My fourth point would be keep helping others. And I hope I will be able to continue to do that through counseling, through caring, and even giving tangible help. So for my birthday, I will be treating all the kids and staff of Visions of Hope to Jollibee lunch packs. Actually, I wanted to invite a mascot, but we're afraid that that person might bring the virus to the Rose of Sharon place or the Magdalena place, so we decided just to send some food. And I'd like also to thank the anonymous couple who partnered with us to make this possible. Actually, Hans and I have been supporting 2 kids at VOH, Visions of Hope, for the past few years. Because most of the kids housed there were former street kids. They're now given food, they're being educated, they're giving wellness, spiritual guidance, and every kid would need 8,000 every month. So what they did would be, for every child, they're looking for 4 child champions, which means, let's say for me and Hans, we can't support the entire 8,000 every month. So what we did is that we became one of those child champions, wherein we only give 2,000 every month. So we supported one girl in a Rose of Sharon and another boy housed in Magdalena. So I'm challenging all of you also to become child champions. And not only for the kids here, actually VOH also help tribal kids. They have centers in Quezon, Palawan, Malungon, Sarangani. So you can check out their Facebook page. Every child is a vision of hope. And in case you're interested, you want to know more about this, you can contact Zerah Mae. Her number would be 0927-686-5057. We'll put the link below, and her email will also be in the link below. And you can also check out CCT Tindahan para sa Bayan. They're selling essentials like alcohol, face masks, and even food, or like say Barako coffee, and they use these funds also to help these kids. So since we're going to use these things anyway, I hope you can buy from them and also help the kids. The last, but the most important one, is to keep trusting Jesus. As I look back, my life's turning point happened when I was 14. That was the year that I came to know Jesus as my Lord and Savior through YGC. I remember at the time I was still a second-year student at Chiang Kai-shek College. We have 2 hours lunch break. So there was a time wherein we talk about why were we living in this world? As kids, we just play around, and then afterwards, we go to school. After a few years, all of us will be going to college, then we'll be graduating, working, then a lot of people will be getting married, then we will grow old, then we will die. So what's the point of living? But at that time, none of us knew the answer, so we just changed the topic. But that got me thinking, why am I living? And now I realized that at that time, what I was feeling like I was looking for something, I felt that life was meaningless. Now they have coined a term, they call it languishing. A sociologist named Corey Keyes used it for people who weren't depressed but weren't thriving. There's a sense of stagnation and emptiness. And that's what I felt at that time. So when Miss Bessie Lim, the teacher who invited me to YGC, I didn't believe in Jesus immediately. I had a lot of doubts. Is there really a God? So I have a lot of questions. Of course, I asked, I read books. And then eventually I said, okay, I'll just give Jesus a try. In case it's not the real thing, I'll just back out. But you know what? It turned out that believing in Jesus was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I never turned back ever since. He turned my languishing life into a flourishing one. And now my purpose is to live for the one who died on the cross for my sins, and of course, who resurrected from the dead. Jesus molded my character. I'm not perfect, even up to now, but I became a more obedient child to my parents. We now have closer family ties. I've learned to care for others, not to judge people, and a lot more things. In case you don't know, I did not come from a Christian family. So when my parents found out that I became a Christian, they got very angry, especially when I said I wanted to go to YGC every week, every Friday for student fellowship. So at that time, I was banned, from going to YGC or the church. You know what I did? I secretly read the Bible in the CR. At that time, we were given a Gideon's Bible. I'd like to thank Leingti for giving me this Gideon Bible. But of course, the Gideon Bible being given would be the one in blue. This one is in gold because It's to celebrate their 50 years of being in the Philippines. So this from 1953 to 2003. She gave me this as a remembrance. So I would secretly get my Gideon Bible, put it into my pajama packet, and I would read it inside the CR. And I'd also secretly join Bible study once I can. But I thank God because eventually God worked in my family, my parents, my brothers, eventually also came to know Jesus. And of course, my friends. It's like during this pandemic, I found the cure. Of course, I'm excited to share it, right? So that's what I did. But of course, some people would reject, some people would laugh at me, but that's okay. As long as I did my part in sharing, it's up to them to believe or not. That's why I'd also like to share this good news with you. I found it in Christ. So I hope you would check Christ out if you're not yet a believer. And my friends, like my high school friends, look at this picture. These are my Barkada Seasons friends. When I became a Christian, G was already one. So together, we invited Christina and Annalie. And eventually, they also became Christian. So in this picture, I forgot why there's only 4 of us there, but we're the first few ones who became Christians. And Mary Chris, in this other picture, I think we've prayed for her for more than 10 years. And then we're very happy that she came to know Christ. Because now that she's no longer with us, we know that one day we're going to see her in heaven. And afterwards, I have also encountered a lot of problems in my life. My mom suffered a stroke. Okay, my dad was operated on, I think 3 times. And now we have this pandemic. But because God has helped me in the past, I know and I can trust Him that He could help me during this pandemic and even future trials. So like me, I hope that all of you would keep treasuring your family and friends. You would keep learning, keep being optimistic, keep helping people, and keep trusting Jesus. Now I'd like to thank some people who have encouraged us. Hazel Marie de la Vega, Alodia Neria Lau, Cello Rosho, Elder Lee Chen, Ephraim Yap, Gardenville and Teshust, Genesis Gwen Ordiales, George Edward Ang, Joanne Wei Huang, Josephine Tiong, Miguel Angelo Balbas, Perps Lobendino, Kenny Lim, Pauline D, Random E, Raquel and her son Otniel Gampon, Rhea Michelle Lam, Ricardo Tutong, Veronica D, Suzanne Ko, Winston Irving Tan, Terra Music Official, Yam Gerbacho, Zenny Mendoza, and Huang Xin Rong. So if you are blessed by this video, please like, subscribe, and share it to others. Enjoy your weekend!